Join Payne and Glory Incorporated as we celebrate Women's History Month with our annual Women's Health and Wellness Expo. We'll be joined by Teresa Wright Johnson, DeAndrea Bolden, VROK Fitness, and of course, yours truly, the founder of Payne and Glory, Chelsealya Cookie Payne. We will be streaming live on our Facebook and YouTube channels. Be sure to tune in with us on March 16th, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Women's Health and Wellness Expo, Mind, Body, and Spirit. Hello, 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 and welcome. We are excited that you are here with us today. We are here, guys. It is the annual Women's Health and Wellness Expo. Listen, I have on our signature shirt, Mind, Body, and Spirit. Our goal is to restore her mind, heal her body, and revive her spirit. I am Chelsealya Cookie Payne. I am the founder of Payne and Glory Incorporated. And listen, guys, we are in for the most amazing experience. We are in for a treat, and that is putting it lightly. Listen, go ahead and hit that share button because you don't want those that you love and care about to miss out on this. Mind, body, spirit. Listen, grab your aunties, your sisters, your cousins, your wives, all of the ladies in your family. Let them know that the annual Payne and the Pews Mental Health and Ministry Conference, the annual Women's Health and Wellness Conference is on. I'm so used to saying Payne and the Pews Mental Health and Ministry. Guys, it's embedded in my DNA. But we're here to talk about mind, body, and spirit. And you listen, we have some ladies with us today. I don't know if you have your proverbial seatbelt ready, but I want you to get it ready. Get that proverbial seatbelt ready because we are going to have the most amazing time. We are going to get started in just a moment, but I'm waiting to see some shares. I need to see you guys on Facebook sharing the wonderful expo that we have here. Listen, I have some things I'm going to share with you in just a little bit. But listen, let me back up just a little bit before we get into the meat of everything, because as you can see, we have some dynamic ladies here. But let me back up for a moment and tell you how we even got here. So Payne and Glory started in 2005 on the platform of domestic violence awareness and prevention. And so from there, we began to expand because of that need. Literally, because what we saw in the space of domestic violence awareness and prevention, we expanded to include women's health and wellness. And so with that, we were able to incorporate what was needed, mind, body, and spirit, right? We the total healing of the total woman. And so with that, we grew even further to include mental health and ministry. You see how they all overlap? You see how they all come together? And so with that, we have had our annual expo where we bring in experts just like what you see on your screen right now, persons who are here to speak into our lives, messages of hope, of healing, of restoration, of wisdom, of knowledge, of understanding, giving you the tips and tools that are necessary to grow and to be the woman who has her mind, body, and spirit intact. So I am going to get out of the way. And so we're going to say goodbye to a couple of our speakers right now. We're going to come back to them. We're going to say goodbye to a couple of them, but we're going to come back to them. But listen, I am honored to introduce our first speaker. I'm honored because and she'll get into how to connect with her on social media, but if you follow her, she takes you on a journey. And what I mean by that is she does, she she's impactful. That's the word I want. That's the word I want. She is a living example of what making an impact means. And so let me introduce to you exactly what I'm talking about. Because I'm gonna get out of the way because it's all about us getting our healing mind, body, and spirit. I keep pointing my t-shirt. You can't see the whole t-shirt, but it does say mind, body, and spirit. So I am elated to introduce to you Teresa Wright Johnson. Teresa Wright Johnson is an international best-selling author and Georgia Mother of the Year for 2023. Wow. Take a moment and breathe that in. Mother of the Year. That's enough to unpack right there. I'm leaving it alone, Teresa. I'm gonna keep going. Teresa is a life coach and a parent educator. She holds many certifications in special needs, mental health, education, and parenting. Mrs. Wright Johnson is the executive director of Zara Song, an organization that supports parents that have children experiencing special needs. Excuse me. As a certified parent peer specialist and mental health instructor, advocate, Teresa currently works with and supports NAMI Georgia, Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies of Georgia, Mental Health America of Georgia, March of Dimes of Georgia, the Federation of Families and Parents to Parents of Georgia. Moreover, Teresa is the owner of TWJME Enterprises and founder of Mom Biz Boss. When asked what some of her most important accomplishments are, Teresa says that being a mother has been her most important accomplishment and joy. Plus, being able to help so many mothers, parents, and families has also been more than rewarding. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce and present to you Teresa Wright Johnson. Teresa, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. And that was so wonderful. So I'm ready to go ahead and this is going to be a great women's health and wellness expo, talking about our mind and body. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about peers and what peer specialists are. In that bio, Cookie referenced that I am a certified peer specialist, and I believe that helping others is important. And I'm going to show you how and why and what peer specialists are. So that's just a little bit about me, and I'm with the American Mother of the Year. The American Mother of the Year is an 88 or 89 now year old organization that focuses on motherhood in America. Check it out, American Mothers. I'm very honored to be that. Like Cookie said at the end, one of my most rewarding joys is being a mother and helping other mothers. So let's get right into it. What is a peer specialist? A peer specialist is someone that has lived experience that helps others through things such as chronic diseases, mental health. It could be diabetes. It could be someone like myself. Maybe you have experience in raising a child with a disability or mental health. What can a peer help with? We're going to talk about how can you find peer support. Is peer support right for you? That's going to be a decision for you. But I'm not just going to talk to you about peer support being right for you, meaning it might be something that can help you to go along with other mental health supports. So, number one, peer support specialists are not therapists. They're individuals that have lived experience that are trained to help others with things that they've been through. For instance, I'm a parent peer specialist. So, I have a child that has a mental health diagnosis. I had a child that had a special needs diagnosis. With my lived experience, as well as other training, a lot of training and certifications, now I help other peers, meaning other parents that might have a child with a mental health diagnosis, other parents that might have a child with a special need. There are different types of peer support, such as being able to help give support. You can give via knowledge. It could be additional training that you have. It can be from your lived experience. Cookie mentioned in the beginning that I'm also a mental health instructor. So you can go and get additional training in whatever field that you provide peer services in. But most of all, if you're someone that needs somebody, maybe the therapist is great, maybe the psychologist is great, but you want to hear from somebody that has the same experience. They know what it's like maybe to go through being depressed, because you could find a peer as an adult that's been through the same mental health challenges you may have. Maybe you were grieving, maybe you were depressed, maybe you've lost a child, maybe you had a child with a disability, maybe you experienced anxiety, maybe you at one point contemplated suicide, maybe someone in your family committed suicide. So it's a way and it's a peer almost for every field. It's almost for any chronic health condition. As a matter of fact, last year, President Biden did an announcement talking about how there were going to be more peer specialists for all and almost every chronic disease. So there are different types of peer support. Now, with peer support, we talked about there being peers. Well, what do peers do? They can run support groups. So a long time ago, I was in a support group for stay-at-home moms. Way before I had ever heard of peer specialists or self-help groups, it was a support group. But there are peer support groups for individuals that might have or experience addictions or have in the past with substances. There are peer support groups for grief. There are peer support groups, like I told you, for parenting. Parenting doesn't come with a handbook, nor does going through addiction challenges or mental health. So you get to be in a room or a setting with someone that is trained and certified and has the lived experience to help support and walk side by side with you as a peer. That is the difference with peer work. Peer work, in particular, is not work where you are a mental health clinician. You're a trained person that has lived experience that can be of a support and guide to someone else. If you're a peer, if that's something you want to do. But if you need somebody that is trained and to be a guide to you, this might be a wonderful additional support. You also have one on one support. I've done all of these supports, and guess what? I've even gotten these supports for myself. So I am a product as well as a practitioner of these services. One on one support is when you have someone like myself. I had a young child that experienced ADHD and some other challenges when she was younger. And at one point, I found myself in a group of people that got me. They understood what it was like for your child to have a temper tantrum in the middle of the store and it not be a typical temper tantrum. It was something, a total meltdown. They understood when your child might, if a child that has ADHD, for instance, might not be able to focus or may not be able to transition to the next activity. They understood how overwhelming it could be for a parent to have a child that had a need such as ADHD. So I had one on one peer support, another person that helped me that had experienced those same challenges. At the same time, I was in a group of peer support where we could talk, we could release some of our frustrations, we could share resources, tips, and strategies, and just be a listening ear. So it can come in many forms. Just check out, you can Google peer support. I'm going to give you some resources at the end. All I can say is I would not have been able to get where I am and help many others get where they are without peer support. Peer support is natural support. It's important to have a tribe. I always say find your tribe. Peer support is finding a tribe. So these are some things that you can get peer support in. So you got addiction there, anxiety, depression, bereavement, divorce problems, dementia. Listen, all these things have been impacted or have impacted my life. Addiction, I don't have an addiction, but I had a family member that had an addiction that I grew up with, and I learned so much more about addiction and things via the support system and the network of peers that I've been in for almost 20 years now. Anxiety. We all experience being anxious, but some of us may experience anxiety. and to have others understand what that is like. Not only to have others understand what it's like, they could say, hey, I went to this particular provider, or I found this resource of breathing and calming strategies, or this book helped me, or this support group helped me, or I know someone. When you bring people together, peers actually have resources that can help each other. And divorce and relationship problems, I am a divorced woman, remarried, but I know that it can help. And I'm going to go a little into that. Here's some other benefits. Benefits of mental illness peer support. So, y'all know we're here talking about mind, body, and soul. Your mind, your body, your soul is impacted by your mental health. Your mental health is a part of your whole health. So, peer support can help with not just mental illness, but mental wellness. So, I want to point that out because right here it says illness, but guess what? Our mental wellness is impacted by things such as our self stigma, things such as understanding how to be empowered, self esteem, self confidence, right? Self inclusion, understanding quality of life, self efficacy, just having a belief system that recovery, and I mean recovery, when we hear recovery, a lot of times people like recovery, well, I don't have an addiction. How can I recover? I've recovered from grief. Many people have recovered from divorce. Many people have recovered from a physical challenge. Recovery comes in so many forms. And guess what? It's a benefit of having a peer. A peer, when you have a good peer and peer system, peer support groups, it is an addition to getting hope and recovery going for individuals. I know because I've experienced it. I know because I've seen hundreds of others do it. I know because I've seen it here in Georgia and nationally and internationally. Peer supports work. I really want you to think about this word peer supports if you never heard it and grab onto it and see if it's something that might be beneficial to you or a loved one or even your youth. Because I want to say they even have peer supports for youth. I want you to know there's some other ways that peer support services and activities can help others. And some of the activities that that can be done are support groups, one-on-one classes, training, individual one-to-one peer services. I'm telling you this because there's somebody out there that might need the peer support, but many of us are already peer supporters without the title. I know I was before I even knew what a peer support was. I've been able to benefit from being a peer, but also getting peer services. So I just want to say a little bit about why and how I'm here because I believe that your live life experience is worthy. And being a peer support person, certified peer support individual, means that I've taken my lived experience, and it could have been a struggle to help other people, but I got help too. I'm going to show you that. So, loss of a child. Unfortunately, I'm a mother that has lost 3 children. And in each of those instances, there was a peer somewhere there to help me. There was an organization called Parent to Parent of Georgia that I'm a part of that they helped me when my child with special needs was here, but even was gone. There was a peer to help me or organization like NAMI when I thought about, oh, I experienced depression. What does that mean? And NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. There was a peer there for me when I said I need help with my child that has a mental health diagnosis, and that was the Federation of Families for Children's Mental Health. There was a peer or a support group that I went to at a time that talked about blended families and blending our families together. These pictures here represent many of those things. My blended family with all of us together, my 3 girls over there, my daughter by myself, right? My husband in that picture, a part of the blended family. I also want to say peer support can help with trauma. There's a picture at the end or the bottom of that screen that shows me and my mother when I was a child, and my mother experienced dementia, started having dementia when I was 12 years old. Trauma. And I got training here through the Alzheimer's Foundation to understand more about dementia and at other places. Domestic violence. I'm a victim of domestic violence. A support group helped me that was ran by a peer at the Women's Resource Center. And later on, I was able to get training to help me better understand domestic violence and help others. Do y'all see how peer support works? But I didn't mean to advance that. The other thing it does is it gives you knowledge. Like I said, you can be trained. And then I said it's helped me have a job and even a career because now I'm a certified peer specialist in many ways and I'm helping others. But that means that it also helped me with my mental health, my whole health, my family, relationships, my career, my finances. Even if you're not a peer specialist, getting someone to help guide you might help you with your career knowledge, information, resources. But most of all, it's helped me be able to give back to others. So now I've helped others do the same thing, but I'm a certified parent peer specialist. And that means I took my lived experience. Your live life experience is worthy. Those trials, those things that were hard, those painful moments, those struggles are worthy. And it may help you to help someone else, or someone else's live life experience may help you. So now I met those ladies that were in that support group, that peer group, and they started telling me about becoming a peer certified person. And I'm a certified peer specialist that helps families. Had been awarded doing that, but it started with another peer helping me, right? Certified mental health peer because I started learning about my own mental health and didn't even know I had experienced depression. But I went and got that training and I went and got support for myself and I learned more information so I could help other people. So I'm a peer specialist in mental health, helping adults. I didn't know I experienced postpartum with some of those children that I had and some of the miscarriages that I've been through and the losses that I had. Got some training, was sitting in the training because I was already a parent peer specialist and said, wow, I experienced maternal mental health. What? Now I'm a maternal mental health peer specialist and a maternal mental health educator helping other people. Do you see? You can just see how peer services can impact all the different parts of your life. And I want to go here. Forensic peer mentorship. What's that? That's when you have incarceration experience, being in a jail or being in a prison. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I don't have a lot of incarceration experience. I have a really clean record, but there was a one time that I did spend a birthday in jail because a significant other, ex of mine, did not do something with the car insurance correctly, and I ended up in jail. But when I was there, I learned things that I would have never known. And I have no criminal background because it was a traffic ticket. But at the time, I didn't have the funds either to bail myself out. So I had to wait until somebody could bail me out. Not only that, I have a significant ex in my life that has been through the penal system that I help navigate things. So just because you experience mental health, just because you experience the loss of a child, just because you've been incarcerated, just because you experience depression, just because you experience trauma, that doesn't mean your life is over. You might be able to find a peer along with your other mental health services to support you, to guide you, to walk alongside you, to help you with that lived experience. Or you might be that person right now, sitting there right now. I talked to someone yesterday and she said, Teresa, I want to become a peer specialist because she has that experience herself. You might be sitting there right now with the lived experience to help someone else. And for whatever reason you're watching this, or for whatever reason you find out about this, or you'll Google what I tell you, you say, I want to be a peer specialist. It's out here for you so you can help others. Because now I've been working with other national organizations and local organizations and becoming certified with all of these different resources. I'm an international best-selling author, but it started with the peer support services and my live life experience that was worthy. And at the end of the day, yes, I'm working on some more certifications and endorsements or whatever, but my goal is somebody help me, a peer help me, and I've been able to help hundreds of others via peer support. But even more, helped more than 25 other individuals become peer support leaders with their own agencies, with their own organizations. I have my own organization helping families that have children with special needs because I know support services are worthy, that they've helped me and I've seen it's helped others. So this is where you find some of this information. You like how I find out about peer support services. Well, you can go to the Copeland Peer Center and Google it. You could go to Fretla, Google it. Mental Health America, the Federation of Families, Family Voices. Call them, ask them, email them, text them. Do whatever you like. Google, research, because there is power in knowledge. And if you want a peer or you want to know more about peer services for yourself, for your agencies, for you, for someone you love, even as a career path, it's there for you. I'm going to go ahead and say this and close. I'm Teresa Wright Johnson. I am a certified parent peer specialist, a certified mental health peer specialist, a certified maternal mental health peer specialist, and a certified forensic peer mentor. But most of all, I'm someone with lived experience that has taken my live life experience of pain, struggles, purpose, value, joy, knowledge, and so much more, and created something for myself and learned through other peers. And I want you to understand that others' live life experience might help you, but all of our live life experience is worthy no matter where we are in our life, because our mind, our spirit, and soul is impacted by every day. And
Oh
if
my
you want more
goodness,
information,
Teresa,
there you go.
that was absolutely amazing. The having the understanding of just how important support is, peer support, someone who's been there, walked in your shoes, understands, and can take you through the most uncharted territory so that you don't have to go through it alone. I thank you so much, Teresa. This has been amazing because not only did you help us from a maternal standpoint, we're talking about mind, body, and spirit, right? You talked to us from a point of a parent, being a parent who has experienced loss, being a woman who has experienced abuse, being a family member who has experienced just the things that we experience, and we should not take for granted that, or have not even take for granted, have the notion that we are in this by ourselves, because we are not. We are not. And Teresa, I thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I hope I put in the comments, guys, and I hope you took heed. Make sure that you screenshot what she shared, because she shared some jewel information and her contact information as well of how to stay connected to Teresa Wright Johnson. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. I just want to say that we're better together in all ways. So thank you so much for having me and remembering that we go further together than alone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. So we are going to keep going. Oh my gosh. I already told you, we're talking about mind, body, and spirit. And these speakers that we have, I'm telling you, I'm so elated. So I'm not even, I'm really full. I'm full. I'm full. I'm full. Teresa really set the stage for us to move forward. So I have the honor of presenting our next speaker. I'm so excited. And so let me just tell you about this powerhouse before I even get into her bio, that I'm going to read for you guys. I started following her on social media. I don't remember how many years ago, and I do mean years. It's been some years, but this woman of God was on there, and she was talking about dreams, and she was talking about the prophetic, and she was really just breaking down some things in a way that was just so, I mean, I was captivated, because here this woman was, and she wasn't being all mystical, or spooky, and let's be honest, sometimes you can tune in. That's a different story for a different day. But you know how social media can be. You can tune in and you like, what in the world? But no, she was such a dynamic inspiration. And so I have the honor of introducing DeAndrea Bolden. DeAndrea is a prolific writer with a passion for creating nonfiction books that resonate with a multifaceted audience. Her expertise extends to various domains, making her a sought after speaker for mental health, corporate, and faith based events. She holds a bachelor's degree in psychology and chemistry, a master's degree in counseling, and a master's degree in medical sciences. DeAndrea is particularly passionate about the intersection of faith and health, advocating for an integrative, multidimensional, holistic approach based on scientific evidence. Her ultimate goal is to eliminate stigma within the faith based and predominantly Black communities while promoting comprehensive health awareness. As an accomplished author, DeAndrea has published several books, including Black Health, considered from a holistic perspective. She resides in Michigan with her loving husband, John, and their two children. Listen, I am elated to present to you all the wonderful DeAndrea Bolden. DeAndrea, it is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm sitting here tickled because I didn't realize you were live, and it was just funny. It caught me off guard. But hello to everyone that is live on here, and even those that may catch the recap later. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to myself as well as all the other wonderful speakers. I really enjoyed the lady that just finished. I believe her name was Teresa, talking about peer support, peer specialism, peer support. And so I think what she was talking about was very, very important. And so I really, really enjoyed listening to her. And so I'm just going to jump right in. And I want to talk to you about women's holistic health. And so, what is holistic health? I am big on not assuming that people know the definition of things, but I'm also big on not giving people a bunch of unnecessary verbiage. So, simply put, holistic health considers the whole person. Every part of you and every aspect of your life matters as it relates or pertains to your health. All right. So why is women's health important? And so we're not just talking about, health in general. We're talking about body, soul, and spirit. And we're talking about women's health and wellness. So why is women's health and wellness important? Well, women are most likely to be caregivers for others throughout the course of their life. This includes children. Some people end up being caregivers of their spouse later on in life. If their spouse has health issues, they may end up being caregivers for their parents when their parents become up in age and may need a little assistance. And so women have we're very dynamic and we're very unique. And so women are many times are also subject to unrealistic standards in society. And so we have seen a lot of women putting their health at risk because they want the IG model body. I've seen women lose their legs. I've seen women lose their life trying to have a perfect body based on these unrealistic standards in society. And so I believe that some of the things that are happening are affecting the mental health and self-esteem of women overall. Lastly, there are a number of health concerns that are only relevant to women. Men don't get fibroids. They don't men don't get breast cancer. Well, men can get, I have heard of men having breast cancer, but most often you hear about breast cancer with women. You don't hear about men having issues with their uterus because they don't have one. Men don't have issues with their fallopian tubes or their ovaries because they don't have them. So when we talk about like uterine or fibroids of the uterus, that would never be applicable to males. Menopause is also something that pertains to women. Men don't go through menopause, just like women don't have to worry about prostate cancer because they don't have a prostate. And so women's health is very, very, very important because not only are we usually caregivers for others, that means we're giving out to others. And so a lot of times women can be prone to a lot of stress, self-neglect because they're too busy caring for other people, and just overall dealing with um, depressed mood, maybe some anxiety and things like that. So one thing that is important for women is self-care. I said it before, and I know people may not like this, but as women, we have seen that women can be more prone to neglecting themselves because they're caring for others. This is especially true for those, again, that are caregivers. You know, people may have children that have special needs. Um, Single mothers that don't have any assistance. And so self-care has become quite a buzzword. We see it everywhere. Self-care, pamper yourself, love yourself, and all that stuff is fine. You know, you can have your bubble bath and read a book, but self-care goes beyond that. Self-care means you are caring for every aspect of you. So that means your physical health. So if you're taking care of your physical health, you will make sure you put in the right nutrients in your body. You'll make sure that you're exercising and eating a clean diet. Your mental health, you'll make sure that if you find ways to eliminate or reduce your stress, going to therapy to deal with unresolved trauma, go into therapy to deal with any issues that may be lingering or bothering you. Your spiritual health. So as a Christian woman, how do I take care of my spiritual health? Making sure that I'm praying and staying connected to God. Spending time meditating on scriptures and studying scriptures, adding fasting to my prayer, you know, fellowshipping with other like-minded believers so that I can stay strong in moments of weakness, so that my spiritual health doesn't decline. And so going to keep moving. And so the theme, I believe she said, was body, soul, and spirit. And so a lot of times we'll hear mind, body, and soul, but the scripture, 1 Thessalonians 5:23 says, may God himself, the God of peace, sanctify you through and through, or thoroughly. May your whole spirit, soul, and body be kept blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. You are a spirit in a body that possesses a soul. That's why the scripture says what? They that worship him must worship in spirit and in truth. And so you have a spirit. Your spirit is your conscious intuition and fellowship with God. That's where that worshiping in spirit and in truth comes in, because we don't worship out of our emotions. We don't worship out of our flesh. We worship out of our spirit. Your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. And then obviously your body is the physical house that we see, you know, your exterior. And so because we are three parts, we have to make sure we take care of all three parts of us, or the total of our being, or the I call it the primary components of holistic health. So let's talk about, and the reason I want to go back, sorry, let me go back a slide. The reason I wanted to make sure I gave that scripture is because a lot of times the spirit is left out. We will leave out the aspect of us, or the part of us that is created, that we would worship God and that we would be in fellowship with God. When we hear from God, he's speaking to our spirit. When we're in depth studying the word, and that word begins to renew your mind, it's germinating and it's touching your spirit. And so it's important, you know, I like how the scripture says, trying to think, I should have had it on here, but it talks about not fainting in your mind, and it talks about your faith not failing you. And so we keep our faith strong by hearing the word. It's the power of the word that keeps our faith strong. And so we don't want to neglect our spiritual health. The Bible says a strong spirit will bear your infirmities, but a broken spirit, who can bear it? Your spirit can be broken. And when a person's spirit is broken, a lot of times you will see them begin to decline in their mental health and in their physical health. And so a lot of times sometimes we forget that component, especially as Christians, especially as believers, that we have to make sure we're taking care of our spiritual health and that we're staying connected with God, even through the rough times. All right. So factors that can impact your health. One of them is stress, and I put it in all capitals, and I put it with a bunch of exclamation marks. Sorry if I can talk behind it, because stress is causing a lot of people a lot of issues and they don't know it. So stress, especially, I would say, especially specifically with even going a little closer with women, and especially also with African Americans dealing with a lot of prolonged chronic stress. And so stress can come from a toxic job. If you have a hostile manager, a crazy work environment, a single parent with absolutely no help, no support from the other parent, family issues. So this can be your extended family or even the family under your roof, marriage problems, problems with your children, financial hardship. And financial hardship really has a way of just, impacting every area of your life, because if your finances are out of order, you can find yourself evicted. You can find yourself, with your utilities caught up, car repoed. Just all type of things can snowball if we hit financial hardship. And a lot of people don't have a huge nest egg that is shielding them from that. Trauma. Trauma is a big thing. And I know I see a lot of, especially I think younger people, kind of using trauma as a buzzword and using it out of context a little bit. And I've had to explain to people that just because you had an experience you did not like does not mean that it was literally be categorized as trauma. So you go somewhere and you go out to eat and the food is nasty. Okay, that doesn't really traumatize you in the sense of what trauma really is. And so some things that can cause a person to be traumatized are things such as being a sexual assault survivor. I've seen where that has really wreaked havoc on a lot of women, spend the rest of their lives trying to recover. Loss of a child. I heard, I believe it was Teresa talking before me on that. Loss of a child at any stage, from the womb all the way to adulthood. No parent expects to bury or to lose their children. Parents expect their children to bury them. Divorce can be very, very, very traumatic. I've seen people have nervous breakdowns, lose a lot of weight, lose everything they had. Divorce can be very, very traumatic for people. Homelessness. I've seen people, when you have nowhere to go and you're literally living on the streets with no protection from people that are roaming and prowling the streets, when we know that there are human traffickers out there, there are rapists, there are murderers, all type of things. Homelessness is very traumatic. Incarceration is also another one. I always tell people, I worked with people coming out of incarceration for a couple of years, in a substance abuse capacity. And I will say, I always tell people that the loved one that goes in is not the loved one that comes out. A lot of people, going to prison. We hear about people being raped. They're being pimped out. They're, being stabbed and stuff because they're gambling and getting caught, getting jammed up. Then they're calling their family, begging for money. The family doesn't understand what's going on. And so prison really is a world of itself, within itself. And so incarceration is very traumatic for people. And you will see that a lot of people come out with more problems than they had when they went in. Environmental factors can affect your health. If you live in a neighborhood where there's noise pollution, a lot of loud, unnecessary noise. If you live in an area where there are manufacturing facilities that are putting pollutants in the water and in the air, over time that stuff can begin to impact you, and affect your health. Diet is another one. Sugary snacks and drinks. They talked about how many people, we talk about, there's a doctor, he talks about the diabetes crisis. And so we have to recognize that we can't keep eating things that are causing people to get sick. So some of the cereals, I tell people, you look at some of those cereals and 50% of it by volume is just sugar. Then we wonder why so many people are dealing with diabetes, which can lead to, other issues with the kidneys and all those things like that. Sugary drinks, processed food, and fast food. You may not know what to eat, but like I tell people, no doctor will recommend that you drink a Pepsi and eat a bag of Doritos every day. A sedentary lifestyle is another one. We have to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves, and not neglecting our health in any capacity. And I think there's one more, because I'm gonna have to put my PowerPoint up here because for some reason I can't see the bottom. Yes. Other lifestyle. So we don't want to be a couch potato. And then the other one is other lifestyle factors such as cigarettes, consuming large amounts of alcohol, illicit drugs, um, if a person is very, having unprotected sex with multiple partners, they increase their risk of, contracting some type of sexually transmitted infection, or an STI, or sexually transmitted illness. So you want to make sure you're taking care of your health. So I decided to emphasize stress because stress is one of the things that is really wreaking havoc on people. So as a woman, how is your health impacted by stress? Prolonged chronic stress can lead to elevated blood pressure and blood sugar. And if your blood sugar stays elevated long enough, what happens? You can end up being diagnosed with diabetes. How does this happen? Because your body has a stress response where epinephrine and cortisol are released. Cortisol is a steroid hormone, and it's one of the primary stress hormones. And so when your body stays in stress mode, it keeps releasing cortisol, which has the ability to elevate your heart rate and your blood pressure and your blood sugar. And so a person can develop so a person can end up finding themselves dealing with hypertension and blood sugar and other issues in their physical body if they don't get stress under control. And the reason why that's important, I guess I need to stop, is because if a person finds their blood sugar or their A1C going up and they're still dealing with a lot of stress, they may also want to deal with the stress as well, exercise and eat a cleaner diet. And so we want to make sure that, even in the doctors, you're doing what the doctor tells you to do. We do what we can do on our end, and that's try to eliminate and reduce stress, exercise, which is very, very good for your mental health and your physical health, and eating a cleaner diet so that we're not eating against our own health. I can't tell you, how many times people are like, pray for me, I got diabetes. And it's like, okay, but you have a candy bar in your pocket. So I can't pray against your poor eating and you're eating yourself into sickness. And so a person can also, chronic stress can also affect a person's mental health to the point that they can be dealing with depression and anxiety. And I always have to put a disclaimer in there about depression and anxiety. It's so important to go to a mental health professional and get screened, assessed, and diagnosed, because we will hear the word depression thrown around a lot in a church space, but everybody that says that they've dealt with depression may not be clinically diagnosed. And so there's a full diagnostic criteria outlined in the DSM-5 that lets people know what the symptomology is and what the criteria is for someone to be diagnosed with depression versus assuming. I mean, we know when we're sad, you may have a depressed mood, but it's so important that if someone thinks they're dealing with depression or anxiety, that they go to a professional to actually get screened and assessed. Stress can also begin to kill your faith. How many people walk away from church and from God and the faith when life and hardships just don't seem to stop? And so a person can end up, their faith can be depleted. Spiritual practices can be diminished. And when I say spiritual practices, I'm simply referring to things that are biblical, such as prayer, biblical meditation, meditating on scripture, meditating on God and his goodness, fasting and praying, and then studying scriptures. And so sometimes when a person gets so stressed, they may begin to shut down in those areas because you feel stressed a lot. You may find yourself fatigued a lot also, and they may not really feel like doing those things. But the thing about it is there is research that talks about the benefits of prayer, the benefits of attending and basically going to church services, and how it is beneficial to people's mental health and mental health outcomes. And so that's why, it matters. Find ways to eliminate stress, reduce stress, or be able to cope with stress in a healthier way. The reason being is because we may not be able to completely eliminate stress in our life. Life is going to happen, but we can find ways to cope with stress. For me, I used to be a chronic worrier, and all that chronic worrying began to start taking a toll on my health. And I had to learn that if I can't do something about it, sitting, being stressed, pacing, and all those things were not going to make it change. And so I've had to learn that you have to deal with life where it is, but not let life and stress overtake you and overwhelm you. But if you find yourself dealing with stress and things like that and you can't cope, I always suggest that people find a mental health professional and get the help that they need to cope and deal with the things I talked about, such as trauma and all those different things, because trauma does not go away. In fact, some people, especially I've seen with people that have been kidnapped or that have dealt with some type of sexual assault, they may deal with a lot of nightmares and nightmares and intrusive thoughts and memory recall, and people can be easily triggered. They can be hyper vigilant. A lot of those things come with the aftermath of trauma. So it's so important that people get the help that they need. Why should holistic health matter to women? Because components of our life overlap. Recognizing things recognizing things that are impacting multiple areas or components of our health. More people are also asking for a more comprehensive approach to their physical and mental health. So you'll find that people are asking for more of help as far as like integrated mental health services, where you may go to a Christian mental health therapist that will say, hey, do you want me to provide integrated services? Why? Because then they may include scriptures, they may include prayer, allowing you to pray, things like that. And then the overview. So to the right, this is the overview I'm talking about. It's coming from the book that I wrote. This is coming from a part of the Black Holistic Health Model, which is tied to the Black Holistic Health Stress Model, which is found in the book Black Health. And so physical health, mental health, and spiritual health, those are like your primary components of your holistic health, if you will. And so that's kind of like literally body, soul, and spirit. Then you have financial health, social health, environmental health, and sexual health as well. And so how do they overlap with each other? Let's take financial health. If a person doesn't have a lot of money, they may live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of environmental issues because they can't afford to live in a better place. Sometimes when your finances are not where they need to be, your social health declines. Nobody wants to be around you when you're down and out, like Eddie Kane. Again, chronic stress and worrying, financial health can cause your spiritual health to decline because you're too worried and overwhelmed. Which can also infect your mental health, because like with your mental health, if a person is dealing with mental health issues and they're not getting any treatment and they're not getting any help, and I'm talking about where a person, their personal hygiene is declining, they're not bathing, they're isolated, their sleeping pattern is off, their eating habits, they may gain a bunch of weight or lose a bunch of weight. So their mental health can get so bad to where they can no longer maintain employment. There it goes. That hits your financial health. They may not be able to build and maintain healthy relationship. There goes their social health. And if their finances is not where it needs to be, again, that affects other things. And so it's just so important to understand the different components of your health, and how they're all interconnected and affect each other, so that we're not just looking at one thing, so that we can be looking at everything that can be affecting us. Because if you find yourself, if your whole family turns against you and no one talks to you anymore, your social health is down. So then, that may affect your mental health, your sexual health. If someone ends up, finding out that they're HIV positive and they got it from a partner, okay, HIV is going to affect their physical health. That type of diagnosis would probably affect their mental health, and just so on and so forth. There could be a lot of expenses with taking care of themselves if they have HIV, which affects their financial health. People may cut them off. So that type of thing, just showing you how it all kind of um, plays in together. So let's stay connected. How can you connect with me? Okay, so I have the 2024 Faith and Mental Health Summit coming up, and you can log on to faithandmentalhealth.net. And so I'm going to have some updates coming up about that. I have a really well-known speaker, I believe, that looks like they're going to be a part of this. And I'm going to be moving the date for this event out as well. Just released maybe like a couple weeks ago my book, Black Health. So if you're interested in that, you can go to blackhealthbook.com. And if you order it, I will gladly get that into the mail for you right away. And then stay connected. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can subscribe to my email list on my website, my main website, which is DeAndreaBolden.com. You can find me on Facebook as DeAndrea Bolden and on Instagram as DeAndrea Bolden 1. And so thank you again for allowing me to be a part of this event. And thank you to everyone that was tuning in. I'm done.
Thank you, DeAndrea. This was great. I mean, you really covered mind, body, and spirit. And what's interesting is you have no way of knowing, because we've not discussed it, but everything, you touched on a lot of what the snippet that I'm going to be sharing in just a little bit. You touched on every single part of it. So I'm like, okay, God, that really just was amazing. Thank you so much for showing how we can be healed and whole holistically. And so, yes, connect. I hope you all screenshot so that you can stay connected. Get a copy of her book, Black Mental Health. Listen, DeAndrea, thank you, thank you, thank you. So right now, everyone, what we're going to do is take a moment to do something. Since we're virtual, we're going to kind of have a stretch break. And I'm also going to share with you. So since this is our virtual expo, we actually have a dynamic sponsor, a vendor that I'm going to share with you. So while you're stretching, you're standing up, you're getting some movement going, which is a great layup for what's coming next. I'm going to share with you our vendor highlight. And when we come back, our next speaker will be up. So take a moment, stand up and stretch. And while you're stretching, keep your eyes on the screen. So our special vendor, Lynn Meyer, she has a women's retreat coming up. So you can go to her website, which is lynnmeyer.com/retreat. Also, the first slide that you saw was of a journal that she has as well. So you can also go to her website, lynnmeyer.com, for more info. So I hope you were able to get some movement going. I hope that you were able to kind of stretch it on out, because we're virtual. I don't want you just sitting there, getting all this good information and not getting the movement that you need. Because remember, we're talking about mind, body, and spirit. So we got to get the body taken care of, right? So that really ties into my next guest. Good layup, huh? Good setup. So let me tell you about VROK Fitness, and more specifically, Kylie Ross. So let me tell you a little bit about Kylie. So Kylie is a self-proclaimed recovering food junkie. Her journey has taken her through many levels of highs and lows. She reached a point of depression from being in various relationships that made her feel defeated and lonely. So She turned to food and more food. Her highest weight, 400 pounds. Hard to believe, especially when you can see, you actually are looking at her on the screen right now. But listen, she grew accustomed and not only she grew accustomed and not only changed her dress size, but she changed her lifestyle. And due to other underlying health issues, she turned to bariatric surgery. After surgery, she went through much needed therapy. There's that word we keep hearing today as a common theme. She went through much needed therapy to ensure that she was ready for the journey that she was about to embark upon. And after losing 75 pounds from the physical adjustments of her surgery, her cravings, well, they came back. And her emotions had started taking over and over and over. And then those little voices began to keep calling back, and they kept calling. But she said to herself, I can't do this, and it won't last. So I'm going to introduce to you and present to you the amazing, the inspirational, the empowering, the dynamic Kylie Ross, aka VROK Fitness. It is all on you, my dear.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure being here. I hope you all have enjoyed thus far. I know I have. We're just going to take a little moment. I know that you all have done some stretching, but if you don't mind, let's just do a little bit more, just one song worth, and we're going to stay seated. All right. So I want you to sit up in your chair. It's all about tall posture, right? You want to feel good. You want to sit up good. Bring those hands here at chest level. We're going to bring it up, down to the chest. Bring it up, down. I want to make sure you're breathing, so make sure you have good oxygen. Slow. You want to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Keep going if you can. Just moving those arms, that's all. The most simple movements can be the toughest sometimes. As long as you keep going, that's what matters. Good. Now we're going to place the hands on the knees. Then we're going to cross them over the chest. On the knees and back across the chest. We're going to hold them right here. We're going to do some seated sit-ups. Lift one knee, then the other. One knee, then the other. Keep going. You hear the music revving, right? Let that energy take control. We're going to keep going. One, then the other. Keep breathing. It's paramount. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Keep going. 8 more. 4, 3, 2. Now we're going to get those arms. Extend, cross it back. Extend, cross it back. Extend. I need one more. Bring this one down. Other arm. Extend, cross. Extend, and cross. One more. Good. Hands together, and we're going to rotate. Again, the simplest moves, it can do so much. It just depends on how long you do them. Get ready to switch after this one. Here we go. Doing excellent. Take this arm down and going up and around. Now this arm, down, up, and around. Really get that stretch in. It means so much to the body. It's like you're thanking your body for all this brought you through throughout the week, throughout the month for a lot of us, depending on how often you actually get to do something like this. Got just a few more. And we'll go ahead and take it on home. Last one. This arm behind the head. Oblique lean. Be mindful of how far over you lean. You do not want gravity to take over. Keep going. Get ready to switch sides. Good, great job. Keep going, keep breathing. Keep that posture tall. Good. And bring the hands forward, flip. Bottom up, flip. So this means you're turning your arms, right? Your wrists, elbows, arms, all of that. Doing great, doing great. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring behind the head. And I want you to just open up that chest and relax. Great job. Wonderful, wonderful work. I'm so proud of you all for just taking that leap. I'm going to come up just a little bit closer because I want this to be as intimate as possible. I want to be able to be as transparent as possible. And I want to create a safe circle with all of the live viewers, with all of the people that watch the replays. I want you to truly be able to understand, and I hope you have gathered this so far, that all 4 of us ladies that is on this panel today know where you are in some form or fashion. You've heard the introductions. You've heard the bios. You've heard what most of us are capable of helping you with. Now, let me kind of add something about the body to it. We've already heard a little bit, but let me tie that knot where we talk about the body. We know that mental health is so large right now. We know that spiritual health is very potent right now, and it's something that we need both of to come together. But just like with any diagram, there's always that third piece that closes the loop. And what is that? It's the body. It's the body. So Teresa has told us about the mind and how she has experienced such, and she's a peer specialist, which is amazing. The last presenter has already informed us of the spiritual piece. You know, she has given us a lot of scripture that we can reference. She has even told us how our mental behaviors can affect our spiritual beliefs and our spiritual behaviors as well. So now let me tell you how it can affect the body. The body is the actual vessel that is displaying everything that is encompassing your capability of your mental health, as well as your spiritual health. It's going to show through the movements and the actions of our physical body. Let me take it another step, give you another perspective. We are what we eat. How many of us have heard that? Something I like to say so that it doesn't come across so offensive to some, because I used to be offended by that statement. Don't tell me that I'm a bunch of Twinkies and Godiva chocolate. I don't like that. I don't. I get offended. I always say every body has a body. Every body has a story, and every body has a story. So each of us individuals, we have a story, and every single body, the physical body, has a story. With every movement, that story is being unfolded more and more and more, because the ending is not happening until when we leave this world. So as long as we're here, know that you have a purpose. I'm going to talk about 3 things from a physical health perspective. It's going to encompass a little bit of nutrition. We're going to talk a little bit about vitamin intake. We're going to talk about just moving, not staying stationary. And when I say not staying stationary, that could also go with life in general, with where you want to be career-wise, with where you want to be financially, spiritually, your spiritual relationship with the Lord, all of that. But we're going to talk about those 3 things. So I'm going to start with the nutrition piece. And for the sake of time, I want to make sure that I keep it focused so that if I don't lose you, because I can go down some rabbit holes. So the first part, we're going to talk about vitamin intake. Everything has a foundation. So even making sure that you're eating properly, it's going to start with what supplements and vitamins you're taking into your body. How your body is actually breaking down and absorbing those vitamins so that you can function, so that you can have energy, so that your body can know how to manage the nervous system whenever it's stressed, so that you're able to fight off immune deficiency diseases, viruses that are going around. Good gracious, COVID, flu, cold. Even if you do happen to contract another virus, hopefully your body will be strong enough to where it can fight it off while still producing what it needs to for you to stay healthy. It starts with a multivitamin. How many of us are taking a multivitamin? I was amazed when I first entered into this industry, the fitness and health industry. I was amazed at how many shocked looks I would get when mentioning, "Are you taking your vitamin? Have you taken your vitamin for today?" They're like, "What vitamin?" Well, that's part of the problem right there. Let's get this foundation. We got some cracks in the foundation here. So we can't look to have a certain outer appearance when our foundation is already cracked up. It's not fully stable. You want to get you a good multivitamin. They have many to choose from. But what I always tell women, well, really women and men, anyone that I work with, you want to get a multivitamin that is suitable for you, your gender, your age range. And if there are any specifics to maybe some other issues that you may have that like let's say that you have a heart issue or underlying heart issue. You may find multivitamins that also have additional vitamins in it to help cater to cardio health. I was trying to say another word. And there are some vitamins for that. So you want to make sure you get something that's along that line. So we got the multivitamin down. Now you want to go to your probiotic. Probiotic is so important, especially for us women, We have so much going on within the center of our being physically. We have a womb that will create life. Okay. We have a bladder, we have a colon, we have everything. Okay. We have a lot going on. That probiotic is going to help to keep good bacteria in and bring the good bacteria out. Okay. It's going to help with regularity. Digestive issues, it seems to be the number one culprit in other diseases and illnesses that have come up over the last 10 years, especially in women. And that could start with stress, as we've learned from Teresa. That can come from trauma, as we have learned from the last presenter. But either way, that result is attacking our bodies physically. So how can we help circumvent that? Get your multivitamin and get your probiotic. Another vitamin that I like to tell, especially us women and women of color, our community is hit so hard. Iron deficiency. You will be amazed at how many of us have an iron deficiency. I have one. I can go to the doctor. Actually, true story. Last month, I was very, very sick. It's like I had a loss of energy. Nothing I did, pre-workout didn't work. I would just lose energy and I would feel sick. And I just felt pale and clammy. And I wasn't necessarily during my time of the month. And I realized, I said, now I know during the time of my month, I have to add iron vitamin. Well, I thought about it. I said, well, wait a minute, maybe I'm still needing some iron. So I took some iron. I took like 2 iron tablets and I felt better. I felt better within 30 minutes. So right off the bat, I'm thinking, okay, so I know my blood work said I was anemic, but I thought I had it maintained, and it hit so quick. Granted, I have been working a lot more, but still, I never experienced that. So I go to the doctor a couple of weeks after that to get blood work done, specifically for iron. It comes back normal. So I'm like, okay, well, that's not making sense, because this set of blood work that I got less than a year ago said I'm anemic. And now you're telling me I'm normal, but yet I'm having the symptoms of low iron deficiency. So all of that to be said, I'm working through the self-advocacy on that. That's a whole nother conversation. But what I am still currently working with my iron. And I have learned from a very small community on social media as well, on TikTok specifically, that there are many other of us minority women that experience that. And so we are having to take iron. And another thing along with iron we're having to take is your vitamin D. Vitamin D for bone health, nervous system health, all of that. It helps to keep you energetic. It helps to keep you healthy. It helps to keep the blood pumping. Okay. So those right there. Now I will tell you, as a certified personal trainer, before you go and purchase iron or vitamin D, please do see your doctor. Yes, we have to self-advocate. We know this. But do not let that stop you from still doing your due diligence and taking accountability. See your doctor. A multivitamin and a probiotic, that's over the counter. That's good for everyone. You will not hear a doctor say, no, you do not need a multivitamin. No, you should not take a probiotic. That is something that we should take on a daily anyway. Why? Because there's so many foods now that are just processed, produce, you got fast food out there, and it's killing us slowly. So if we can keep the multivitamins in us, if we can keep the probiotic pushing those bad toxins out of us through our digestive system, then guess what? That's what we're going to do. So enough of that. That's that layer right there. Now we're going to take it to just moving. Let's just move. Pre-COVID times, about 80 to 85%, no, 80 to 95, percent of us were much more active than we are now since COVID. For one, it's due to job environment. A lot of us are now remote, whereas we used to actually have to drive back and forth and go in the office. When you're in your office, you're up and down from your desk, going to the printer, going to your neighbor's cube to talk to them, walking to the break room, or going outside to talk to whatever counterpart or team member. You were up and down, you were moving. Organically, you had to move more. Soon as COVID hit, what happened? We became sedentary. We found a sofa and we stayed there. We leaned back and we did not get back up. And right now, if somebody says, oh, it's time to get back into the office, we're ready to almost have a whole heart attack. The stress is through the roof because we've gotten accustomed. That's what happens. It's no different than gravity. It's no different than gravity. We sat down and guess what happened? Gravity took over. And now we're doing this. And with someone like me in the fitness and health industry, oh, trust me, I went through the same thing. But that's where I had to really dig deep. I knew that I had people counting on me simply because of what I do, VROK Fitness, and clients that I have, but also for the sake of my own health, so that I could continue to train people and to get them their goals. I had to keep up with my own goals. So I had to get on a hard schedule. I'm talking about with alarms set. I even had to go and get a mentor in the industry as well as a trainer, just to help keep me accountable. Why? Because I'm human as well. And I still work with her to this day because it's important to stay in the habit. Gravity is steady pulling us back, but we have to keep pulling forward until we break through those barriers called gravity. I know somebody out there feels where I'm coming from. I know you do. That's okay. If it's stinging a little bit, that's okay. That's the first start to making that change. All right. So with getting moving, that could start with something as simple as just walking. Just take a walk. Go to your mailbox. You got to do that anyway. A lot of new neighborhoods now, it's a community mailbox all the way down to the beginning of the entrance of the subdivision. Walk. Don't get in your car. Do not drive to that mailbox. If you're coming back from the store and you think, oh, well, let me roll up to the mailbox and just drive up like a drive-through and, unlock it, don't do it. Go to your house and park your car, and then you walk back up to that mailbox. That's one way you can get started with moving. I promise you will feel revived. I promise you that you will. Try it. I dare you to. Another thing that we said we would talk about. So we talked about the vitamins and the nutrition. We talked about just getting moving. Now let's talk about how we're going to stay focused. So I've already told you my method. I have alarms. I schedule things. I make sure that I am on time and ready for my training sessions. But do you know that there are some times where I still go, you know what, I'm going to cancel that session. So how am I able to overcome that? For one, I made sure that I talked to my mentor as well, and I made sure that we connect often. I know my time is about up. I'm gonna wrap it up right now, Chelsealya. I made sure that I stay in touch with her. I make sure that I keep in touch with her daily. Or in weekly. I make sure that I hold myself accountable because again, I know that others are looking to me. You have others looking to you. You have a family looking to you. You have colleagues looking to you. So I challenge you. Start with your multivitamins. I challenge you to cut out the fast food. I challenge you, walk to the mailbox. I challenge you to get up and get moving. Again, thank you so much. My name is Kylie Ross, owner of VROK Fitness. I'm your virtual and mobile fitness and health company. If you want to get started today with your journey, feel free to reach out to me, vrockfitness.net. Thank you so much. Chelsealya, you there? Oh, I hope we didn't lose her. Now I can keep talking now. I don't see her coming in, so I will go ahead and also share that I do have seasonal programs also, and I have personal training packages on my website. So if you're interested in moving personally, and having that personal connection, please do reach out as well. Oh, good, she's back.
Here the whole time, but for some reason my computer locked up. And so I had to switch over to a different device. I am so sorry. I was here the whole time, like, oh, but I thank you so much, Kylie. Like, oh my gosh. I love how, because you're the one that helped me to understand about the need for probiotics. I didn't know the multivitamins. I just thought you just go pick up one until you told me and taught me that no, there are specific multivitamins that are specific to our particular body types. And I literally, you taught me so much. And so I appreciate you more than you know, more than you know. And thank you for I don't know, literally, I don't know what happened. My laptop said, well, that's all, folks. So which is fine, which is fine. But I thank you so much because you really taught us the real, you tied in all three, the mind, body, and spirit. And so thank you so, so, so much, my dear.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
So as we round out today's amazing event, and thank you all for your patience while I was having these technical issues. I don't know what happened on that part, but the show must go on. And so I'm just gonna round out this last little bit and share with you healing well, right? And so let me just move over here because listen, we are gonna make it happen, right? And so we're gonna talk about healing well. Healing well. And so I'm tying in all of what we have just discussed and all of what we have just learned. And I'm just putting a bow on what we've talked about. How about that? Does that work? And so for us, for women of faith, women of color, women of faith, or just women in general, right? But specifically for Christian women, the call to a life of healing is both an enduring and deeply personal one. It's one where it's ours to take to and for ourselves. And with a rich tapestry of biblical tools and the support of a faith community, we talked about that earlier. We heard it talked about earlier about having peer support and having a community with us. We are guided through the meticulous process of restoration, mind, body, and spirit. And so this virtual event today is a testament of the powerful partnership between faith, between self-care, and highlighted the actions that we need to take in true healing to achieve true healing. And so we have a mandate. We have a healing, a wholeness mandate. Okay? And so the scripture is filled with a call to be whole, right? In John 10:10, Jesus speaks on life in abundance, an existence not marred by shackles of grief and trauma and dis-ease, right? But ensuring that we live in accordance with the mandate is a conscious daily practice that requires addressing every facet of our being, mind, body, and spirit. So there are some biblical tools for mental healing. Let's talk about them because we want to talk about cultivating a healthy mind, right? And a peaceful mind, and a mind that we can embrace the very things that we have been talking about today. So in Philippians 4, the whole chapter, the Apostle Paul is talking about, he paints a picture of this tranquil mind, this peaceful mind. He gives us tips and tools and strategies on how to accomplish having a peaceful mind. And through prayer and discipline and that of gratitude, he had a heart of prayer. He had a mindset of discipline and gratitude. You see it all throughout the scripture. We clear space for God's peace to dwell in us, adhering to that scripture. So interestingly enough, if you pay attention, you'll notice that pastors as well as therapists alike, they often draw upon that cognitive restructuring principles that are found right there in that scripture, right? And so teaching us how our thought patterns shape our emotions and our actions. So Philippians, if you go back and just look through Philippians 4, you will actually see how he starts out and he paints a picture of how our mindset and how we think and how we can retrain our thoughts and our thinking to that, so that we can have a peaceful mind. So when we talk about earlier, we heard it said a few times about anxiety, something that I'm very familiar with. I've never known a time in my life since birth. Well, I don't know about birth, but you get the picture. I've always had anxiety and diagnosed with generalized panic disorder, but generalized anxiety and panic. But the Bible actually offers us a plethora, you said in a sentence 3 times this week, of verses to combat fear and anxiety. And they have been so helpful to me over the years. A lot of the techniques that we've already heard, you heard just a moment ago, Kylie speaking about breathing. Oh my gosh. Breathing has so many benefits beyond what we just, in and out to be able to live. No, breathing has so many different attributes to it. When we heard Teresa talk about, having peers that can not only support us, but that we can go to and talk to. When we talk about, when we heard from DeAndrea talking about different scriptures that we can lean on and give us support and help. And so 2 Timothy 1:7, it reminds us that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but that of love and a power and of a sound mind. But then if we plug into the power of God's love and having a sound mind, when combined with therapeutic techniques of mindfulness, which means just to pause and slow things down, right? Pause, being mindful. Literally, mindfulness is being mindful, right? Paying attention, slowing things down, getting a hold of the moment, right? And then, like I said a moment ago, deep breaths, deep breathing. One thing that I do personally is what I've done. I don't even know if it's the actual term, but I do 4-4-8, which is I take a deep breath in, hold it for a sec, take a deep breath in 4 seconds, hold it 4 seconds, and breathe out slowly for 8. And when you're concentrating on the count and you're concentrating on the breath, you can't really focus on other things. There are other things that you can use. How many things can you smell, touch, see, taste, and hear, right? And pay attention to those things. And then you've got these verses, right, that become anchors for the stormy seas and areas of your life where you need that strength. You can pull on those scriptures that help you through your mental struggles. That one scripture may be great for you, but there may be another one that really does it for you, right? Grab onto that one. And so we heard Kylie a moment ago talking about our body, our physical health, right? Because our bodies are our physical bodies are vessels, right? They have a divine purpose. We were not just created just to walk around, go shopping, and die. we were created for more than that, right? I know that sounded kind of funny, but you get the point. We are divine vessels. And so self-care is a vital component to our healing journeys. We already heard about that, right? DeAndrea talked about self-care is more than the bubble bath and the having some me time, but it also encompasses going to your therapist, making sure that you're taking care of your physical health, you're going to your doctor's appointments, that you're looking after the things that are literally self-care. In our bodies, which were fearfully and wonderfully made, are vessels for God's purpose. Now, ignoring the maintenance of these divine purpose-filled vessels, well, that's not a display of humility, but it is a dereliction of duty when we don't take care of what we were given stewards over. How well are we stewarding this divine vessel, this beautifully and wonderfully made vessel? So we have to work on nurturing our physical bodies. And how do we do that? Well, Kylie just told us, right? And DeAndrea went over it as well. And I believe even Teresa hit on it, through healthy eating. We've been so accustomed to eating a certain way because that's how mom and them did and grandmama and them did. And so that's how we know how to eat. But we can relearn and retrain ourselves how to eat. Eating healthy, regular exercise. Your exercise doesn't have to look like mine. Your exercise may look like you working out in your garden or doing things out in the front yard or whatever the case may be. Mine may look like walking around the neighborhood, or as Kylie said, don't you pull up to don't you drive over to your mailbox if it's in a different place. You better walk over there. Yours may look like going to the mall and walking around. We hear that a lot. People just walking, right? Yours may look like going to the gym. You may be a gym rat. You might like to do that, right? Whatever it looks like. And then adequate rest. Rest is not a bad word. Rest is scriptural. Rest is not being lazy. Rest is scriptural. Rest does not look like unproductivity. Rest is scriptural. And rest is a form of worship. Okay. Take a moment and breathe that in. Because when we choose physical wholeness, we set the stage for mental and spiritual well-being. Biblical practice and self-care merge through healthy dietary choices, both mentally and physically healthy dietary choices. And the importance of rest is placed on the Sabbath commandment. Well, what's the Sabbath commandment? 6 days shall thou work. On the seventh day, what are you supposed to do? Now, whether your belief is that the Sabbath rests on a Sunday or rests on a Saturday, that doesn't matter. Are you resting? Are you honoring that command? Whether you believe it's Saturday or Sunday, that's irrelevant. But what's relevant is on those 6 days you're working, on the seventh day, whatever you consider the seventh day, are you resting? It was good enough for God, but not good enough for you. Just curious. Moving on. And so, in a culture that often glorifies busyness, the more busy we are, busyness does not equate or equal to productive, right? Sometimes rest equals productive because a rested mind is a productive mind. But like I said, in a culture that glorifies busyness, the biblical concept of Sabbath rest becomes revolutionary. Oh, that's something new. No, it was here from the beginning of time. So when we lean into that and we put value on that rest, when we put value on our self-care, it not only does work for us, it trickles down to our family, our other family members. They see the benefits, right, of what's required in order to make rest work for us. And it's important because adequate rest, daily rest, not every once in a while, you schedule everything else, scheduling your rest, it's a balm to our weary souls. Rest is. And it allows you to get into God's divine rhythm. He works 6 days, seventh day, he rested. If you're resting with him, how much more connected could you be when you rest when he rests? Just saying. So if we're talking about mind, body, and spirit, right? So we cultivate our spiritual self, because we can all agree, I believe, that prayer is a beautiful and powerful vehicle through which we communicate with our Father. In our healing journeys, whatever your journey looks like, whatever mine looks like, it becomes a sanctuary of peace and a powerful tool of self-reflection and self-growth, right? The Bible is filled with examples of prayers ranging from the most jubilant and celebratory prayers to the ones that are most filled with anguish and pain. We've seen them all. Those models, they teach us how to come to God as we are and trusting him and trusting his love and trusting his sovereignty. And so as I round this out, let's talk about something we've already spoken about, but I kind of want to reiterate it. It's been brought up a few times, and that's community and communion. The church, the body of Christ, a diverse and multifaceted body of believers, becomes a wellspring of spiritual healing through what? Fellowship. Fellowship. Hebrews 10:25 underscores the importance of gathering together, not forsaking the assembly of ourselves. Right? This goes back to what we heard our sister Teresa talking about earlier about the peer groups. Because think about it. You're not in church is great, but you're in church 1 or 2 times a week or however often you come together. But when you have a group, a peer, a group of individuals that you can call upon who, it could be a small group of whatever the case may be, of peers that can lift you up, push you in the right direction, encourage you, rein you back in when necessary, that's a powerful tool, right? And it's important to be able to give and receive support, mutual encouragement, and here's the word, accountability. It's important. So as I'm closing this loop, I really want to encourage you that the ultimate act of self-care is the recognition that we are not meant to travel this path called life alone. Building a network of support and accountability, empowering one another. So I encourage you to reach out and connect with other women, or if you're a man on here, connect with other people who can help you through life's darkest valleys and rejoice with you in life's highest peaks, right? In this journey called wholeness, on this journey that we're taking to wholeness, right? By encouraging in conversation and in prayer and in shared experiences like we heard earlier, we elevate the conversation about healing and make space for women to heal and heal well, completely, mind, body, and spirit. How about that? So listen, I appreciate each and every one of you for being a part of this year's Women's Health and Wellness Expo. I'm going to try to lift up a little bit so you can see my shirt. Mind, body, and spirit. I'm telling you, we want to restore her mind. We want to restore her mind, heal her body, and we want to revive her spirit. That's what we're here to do. And I believe that we made it happen. Yes, the shirt is for sale. We've got to restock, but this is part of our brand. So yes, the shirts are available. And as soon as we restock, I will have them available on our website. They're not on there right now, but just wait just a little bit and we'll restock and have them on the site soon. We do ask that if you would, we want you to partner with us. We want you, excuse me, to be a part of what we do here. And basically what that is we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to donate to Payne and Glory. And you can do so by going to Cash App, and that's $ Payne and Glory. Or if you're not into Cash App, certainly go to our website, payneandglory.com, and hit the donate button. Listen, we want to be able to continue to offer events like this. We want to be able to continue to be able to offer things to the community where we can be a blessing. So we encourage you to partner with us in your giving. You can do so by Cash App, $ Payne and Glory, or feel free to go to our website and click on the donate button. Listen to my guests, Teresa Wright Johnson, DeAndrea Bolden, and Kylie Ross of VROK Fitness. I thank you all for being such a wonderful part of this 2024 Women's Health and Wellness Expo. Technical difficulties at all. It did not matter because the show still continued on, and I thank all of the ladies that were a part. I thank you all who were in the comments. I thank you all who were joining with us. And listen, we'll do this again next year. And until then, keep connected with us because we have some amazing things that are coming up this entire year. Payne and Glory is doing a lot. So we want you to stay connected. We love you. We appreciate you. And listen, Stay healthy, mind, body, and spirit. God bless.